You hit your revenue targets this quarter, but instead of celebrating, you are staring at a fragile house of cards. The team is exhausted, customer complaints are slipping through the cracks, and every new client feels like a burden rather than a victory. You are running faster than ever, yet the business feels like it is moving through wet cement. This is not a marketing problem, and more leads will only make the foundation crack faster. What you are experiencing is the crushing weight of operational debt. Much like financial debt, it accrues when you borrow against the future to solve an immediate problem today. You made quick, cheap technology choices to get a product out the door. You built manual workarounds because there was no time to design a proper workflow. Now the bill is coming due, and the interest payments are draining your capacity for sustainable growth. In the early days of a startup, these shortcuts are often necessary survival tactics. You hack together a spreadsheet to track orders, or you use a free software tool that barely meets your needs. The focus is entirely on survival and acquisition. But as the company evolves, those temporary bandages become permanent fixtures. The quick fix that saved you 2.5 hours last year is now costing your team 30 hours every single week. The hidden costs of these decisions remain invisible on a standard profit and loss statement. You will not see a line item for fragmented data or non-scalable organizational structures. Instead, the impact bleeds out through process inefficiency and employee burnout. Highly paid talent spends their days hunting down lost emails, reconciling mismatched spreadsheets, and apologizing to clients for dropped balls. The talent you hired to drive innovation is trapped doing data entry. While many leaders are familiar with technical debt, which involves poorly written code or outdated software architecture, operational debt is far more insidious. It encompasses the human element. It is the lack of standard operating procedures, or SOPs, which are the documented step-by-step instructions that ensure consistency. Without them, institutional knowledge lives entirely in the heads of a few key employees. If your top manager leaves tomorrow, they take the entire operational blueprint with them. This reliance on heroic individual effort creates massive scaling bottlenecks. A business cannot multiply its output if every process requires the founder's direct intervention or a senior manager's manual approval. You hit a ceiling where the sheer complexity of operations slows everything down. You try to push through by hiring more people, throwing bodies at a broken process, but this only magnifies the chaos and destroys your profit margins. To break this cycle, you must stop treating symptoms and start rebuilding the architecture. The foundation of sustainable growth is not a better sales pitch. It is a robust, integrated system. This begins with implementing a proper customer relationship management platform, or CRM. A CRM centralizes all customer interactions, sales pipelines, and communication history into a single, accessible database, eliminating the chaotic web of sticky notes and personal inboxes. But simply buying a CRM does not erase operational debt if you just import your bad habits into new software. You must ruthlessly map out your current workflows before writing a single line of automation. Identify where data is manually entered more than once. Pinpoint the exact moments where projects stall waiting for approvals. This mapping exposes the hidden friction points that have been silently dragging down your daily productivity. Once the friction points are exposed, you can design a streamlined path forward. The goal is to create a workflow where information flows seamlessly from one department to the next without human intervention. When a sales contract is signed, the system should automatically trigger the onboarding sequence, notify the fulfillment team, and generate the initial invoice. This level of automation transforms a fragmented operation into a synchronized engine. If you choose to ignore the friction, the operational debt continues to compound at a terrifying rate. Legacy systems, which are outdated computing software or hardware that are still in use, become increasingly unstable. They refuse to integrate with modern tools, creating isolated data silos. Your sales team looks at one set of numbers, your finance team looks at another, and leadership is forced to make critical decisions based on conflicting, outdated information. The long-term damage extends far beyond internal frustration. In a competitive market, speed and reliability are your primary weapons. When your internal processes are bogged down by debt, your response times lag. Competitors with leaner, modernized operations will outmaneuver you, delivering faster service and a superior customer experience. Your hard-won clients will eventually migrate to providers who do not make them feel like their business is a logistical burden. Recognizing this threat requires a fundamental shift in how leadership views operations. Systems and infrastructure cannot be viewed as a mere cost center. They are the literal engine of your scalability. Investing in process optimization is as critical to your bottom line as product development or marketing. It is a preventive measure that insulates your company from the inevitable shocks of rapid expansion. Moving forward requires adopting Enterprise Resource Planning, or ERP. An ERP system integrates all the core processes of a business, from finance and HR to supply chain and procurement, into a single, unified system. While a CRM handles the front-end customer journey, an ERP manages the back-end reality. Implementing this level of infrastructure forces a company to standardize its operations, effectively paying down years of accumulated operational debt in one strategic move. Consider the transition phase of deploying an ERP. It is inherently disruptive. Teams must abandon their comfortable, albeit inefficient, manual workarounds. There is a learning curve, and productivity may momentarily dip as the new architecture takes hold. But this short-term discomfort is the price of long-term viability. You are performing surgery on the business to remove the bottlenecks that threaten to choke its future. The echoes of those chaotic early days begin to fade as the new infrastructure takes over. Data becomes a reliable asset rather than a daily puzzle. Leadership can finally look at real-time dashboards and trust the metrics they see. Forecasting becomes accurate. Inventory levels are optimized automatically, and customer acquisition costs can drop by 18.5% because the fulfillment process is entirely frictionless. To maintain this clarity, you must establish a culture of continuous improvement, heavily influenced by methodologies like Lean Six Sigma. Lean Six Sigma is a team-focused managerial approach that seeks to improve performance by eliminating waste and defects. It teaches your team to constantly evaluate their daily routines, asking if a step adds value to the customer or if it is just a stubborn remnant of an old, broken process. Empowering your team with these frameworks shifts the burden of optimization off the founder's shoulders. Employees become system architects, actively identifying and resolving minor inefficiencies before they metastasize into massive operational debt. They understand that a well-documented, standardized process is not a restriction on their creativity, but a mechanism that frees them from repetitive drudgery. Yet, even with empowered teams, the threat of regression is constant. As you enter new markets or launch new product lines, the temptation to take shortcuts will return. The pressure to deliver quickly will always compete with the mandate to build correctly. You must remain vigilant, guarding the integrity of your systems against the creeping chaos of rapid, unstructured expansion. This is where rigorous documentation acts as your final defense. Every time a new variable is introduced to the business, the corresponding SOPs must be updated. Training materials must reflect the current reality, not the way things were done 3 years ago. When documentation is treated as a living, breathing component of the business, operational debt simply cannot take root. The companies that master this discipline do not just survive growth, they weaponize it. Their scalable infrastructure allows them to absorb massive spikes in demand without a single dropped ball. They can acquire smaller, disorganized competitors and quickly plug them into their highly efficient operational machine, instantly multiplying their value. They operate with a level of predictability that makes them unstoppable. You have a choice to make about the future of your enterprise. You can continue to patch the leaks, spending your days fighting fires and managing the chaos of your own success. Or you can stop, assess the structural integrity of your operation, and commit to paying down the debt that is holding you back. The effort required to build unshakable systems is substantial, but the cost of ignoring them is total operational paralysis. True business freedom does not come from working harder or selling more. It comes from building an entity that operates independently of your daily exhaustion. It is found in the quiet hum of automated workflows, the reliability of centralized data, and the confidence that your foundation can support whatever weight you place upon it. That is the reality of a business built on robust, scalable systems. If your business feels chaotic, it is not because you need more leads. It is because your systems are not built to handle growth. Most business owners try to fix this by doing more themselves, which only slows everything down. Before you hire more people or spend more on marketing, you need the right structure in place. We will take a look at your business and show you where things are breaking and what to fix first. If we can help implement it, we will tell you exactly how. If not, you will still walk away knowing what is holding you back. No pressure, just clarity. Click the link in the description of this video to get your free evaluation today.